So that's where we would have the potential to see a tornado touch down. This is the same storm that earlier touched down in Westmoreland. But right now, what we have is a Doppler radar indicated tornado, and it's a very impressive storm cloud that's over Topeka right now, no doubt. This is one that certainly probably remember for a long time after watching this one go through and looking from Menninger Hill in Topeka.
A report from emergency management in Jefferson County on some rotation near the Calhoun Bluffs.
Calhoun Bluffs, okay. Thank you, Doug. It's heading toward areas like Meriden. That's where it's going if the tornado is actually in this right now. So that's where the tornado would be. All right, I'm going to try to access the NOTO weather camera here.
And of course, if by chance there's a new downstream warning, Owazaki, Oskaloosa, Perry could be in the new tornado warning, so just be aware of that if they do continue it. And so the current tornado warning does expire at 6:45, so should have a new update on this tornado warning here shortly, as we haven't had an update on it since it was issued.
All right, thank you, Doug. So I'm going to turn the NOTO camera around. Here's what I'm doing, and see if I can get it from that angle. I think I have a little better look at it here now. So this is a look from NOTO, looking to the north-northeast, and this is just north of Redbud Park. And so you can see the updraft there just north of town. And again, it's just kind of the same thing. I'm not seeing a well-defined funnel cloud or anything from the shots we're seeing. So, all right. So if you're watching us,
all right, we got a new update for this warning that came out.
Go ahead.
So we got capable of producing a tornado located 6 miles south of Hoyt, moving east at 25 miles per hour. So northeastern Topeka, Meriden, Hoyt, and Granville are the cities in this warning.
You said southeast of Hoyt?
6 miles south of Hoyt.
That's the same location they gave earlier. Okay. That's the same location we had earlier on it. So, you know, there's just a couple of different areas of rotation in this. You know, they're kind of it's just rotating right there close to Highway 75.
This is a 13 News special presentation, The Miracle on Kansas Avenue, presented by Giant Communications.
Hey everybody, welcome in. It's the 29th annual Miracle on Kansas Avenue. We are live on WIBW.com, and we've got the most amazing crowd out here. You guys ready for a parade or what? Can we hear you? I got Melissa Bruner here with me, and we've got the main attraction here.
All right, folks, the Miracle on Kansas Avenue Parade is minutes away from stepping off. We are on our red carpet, and that means we have a performer worthy of the red carpet. Antoine's going to tell us the story behind this special event, but folks, I can tell you right now, this is something he has created especially for us in Top City, Topeka, Kansas. Antoine Hopper, let's get the Miracle on Kansas Avenue underway.
Let's do it! This is a very special song created by Charlie Rosen, the Tony and Grammy Award-winning composer behind Some Like It Hot. We did a...
There's going to be another marching band coming. All right, Sean Dixon, how powerful is this group and this university in bringing people to our great capital city, Washburn University?
They are absolutely fantastic. Great partner of ours, from athletics to student work and everything in between. Washburn has been incredible for this community.
And did you know Mr. Ichabod has a candy cane suit? I had no idea.
There's Washburn President, Dr. Julianne Mazachek, leading the way there. Dr. Mazachek, hello.
And of course, what would a visit from Washburn University and Washburn Tech be without the Washburn University Marching Ichabods, excited to be performing at the Miracle on Kansas Avenue Parade for the very first time.
Let's
the Marching
listen
Ichabods
in.
are led in the parade by
great.
drum majors Orion Craig, Yared Romo, and Mia Strickland, directed by the Washburn University Director of Bands, Dr. Anya Borlovova, to help us celebrate the holiday season. Washburn University here with us at the Miracle on Kansas Avenue. Joining the Washburn University Marching Ichabods tonight are the dance and cheer teams. And because it's winter, the baseball team joined them?
Yes.
It makes
What's up,
perfect
y'all?
sense to me.
Go
Any
Bucks.
day is a good day for baseball. Welcome to the Washburn baseball team. I think the baseball team is posing for a photo.
team-
Wait, I got to
team
photobomb
photo.
them. Hang on.
You want us to come up there?
I'm going to photobomb them. And just in case you haven't seen enough Washburn, there's an ad on a truck.
This is First Lutheran Church here, or Faith Lutheran Church, excuse me. They're celebrating 76 years of sharing the gospel in Topeka. 3rd year to take part in the Miracle on Kansas Avenue. Thank you, Faith Lutheran.
In the heart of America and among the beauty and vitality of Kansas lies a silent crisis, and it's one that touches every corner of our state.
This year, we here at WIBW are taking a stand for the mental health of our community, a stand for those who feel unheard and unseen.
Kansas ranks last in the nation for mental health care. It's a reality we can no longer ignore. The impact is real, the numbers are growing, and the stories behind them are heart-wrenching. But there is hope. Hope in action, hope in community, hope in speaking out. That's why we're launching the Hear Me, See Me campaign.
Through Hear Me, See Me, we are dedicating our resources, our reach, and our resolve to shed light on this crisis. We are here to amplify voices, to share stories, to connect people to the help that they need, but we can't do it alone. We need you, businesses, leaders, individuals too, to stand with us, to say no more suffering in silence, no more standing on the sidelines.
Join us in the Hear Me, See Me campaign. Together, we can break the stigma, we can offer support, we can save lives. This is our moment to make a difference in Kansas.
Be a part of this change. Hear us, see us, join us.
Welcome into our Hear Me, See Me podcast. This is a project of WIBW Television where we are working all year long to raise awareness of mental health and issues surrounding the conversation of mental health awareness. We're talking about a tough one today, and that is suicide, loss of loved ones to suicide. And the conversation is centering around a family and a story that they certainly hope they would never have to tell, but they are sharing it because it is a very important one. Damon Quigley was only 13 years old when he took his own life. His mom, Brenda, dad, Ron, and his siblings have worked since then to find a purpose in Damon's life, and they have founded Damon's Purpose. Brenda Quigley is with us today to talk about this experience, the journey that you have followed. And I do want to let everyone know, as we're having this conversation, if you see any struggles in yourself or a loved one, please remember the 988 Suicide Prevention Lifeline is there to help you 24/7 if you have anything in your own life that you think you need help right now as you're listening to this today. Because Brenda, we met before, I shared your story. Gosh, has it been almost 5 years ago now?
3.
Oh,
it
my.
was 3, yep.
Time flies,
I
time
know.
flies. And one thing that you shared at that time is that we can't fix what we don't know is broken.
Yes.
So what happened with Damon?
He, it seemed as if it was a normal morning. It was January 19th of 2021. And if we remember back to that day, the world was kind of in crisis
Yes.
with COVID. And the night before, on January 18th, he had been put back into another quarantine for an exposure to COVID. And it was his third one since, I think it was December 1st. And so, looking back on that time myself, I know that everyone, myself included, and a lot of people around me, felt anxious. We all felt anxious, and we all felt like uncertainty in what was happening. And so I imagine that's probably what he felt like, but for whatever reason just chose not to share that with us.
And what type of, before we get into the rest of that day, let's put up Damon's picture so we can look at Damon, Forever 13. But what kind of kid was he? What was he involved in? What did he love? What were his passions?
He was a very outgoing boy. Oh my gosh, he loved sports. Baseball was his favorite. He loved all sports. He had the body of a football player, so you would have thought that football was his favorite, but he really loved baseball. Basketball, loved it all. He loved to be outside. He loved the water, loved the lake. We would go fishing and boating, and he loved to be pulled around on a tube. And he had a lot of friends. He was smart, but I'll be honest, he really didn't like to do his homework because, I mean, that took up too much time. Right, yeah. So he had a lot of friends. He was very popular. He was kind. And very happy. He and I shared a lot of the same interest. We had just recently gotten into doing some woodworking together, and that gave us time to spend together even more when everything was kind of shut down there for a while, and so that was really nice. So happy, social. Yep. No signs, no expression of anything going on. Not to us. Even like to look back on it, there's things I can think of that, was that a sign? But it just seemed like typical teenage boy behavior, nothing. And we've kind of worked through that and shared some of our thoughts with professionals, and they're like, yeah, really, that's not. He worked probably very hard to not show those signs for whatever reason, I don't know. Which is why we have these conversations, because we've heard from other folks who we visited with that you do need to check on your well friends, because while we have warning signs that experts talk about, experts also say sometimes there aren't necessarily those warning signs, which is where the conversations need to come in. Regularly check in with your friends who seem well, because you just don't know. So we go to what Welcome into the Eye on Northeast Kansas Hear Me, See Me podcast. Hear Me, See Me is a project of WIBW TV, our year-long effort to raise awareness of mental health, some of the issues people face, some of the resources that are available, and beyond all, letting everyone know that there is hope. We're also sharing stories, and today we are joined by Ms. Felicia Glass. Felicia, you're a social worker, you're a counselor, you are just a person who is knowing everything. Maybe not knowing everything, but if anybody knows you, Felicia, they know what a positive person you are. I've heard you speak, and I'm always motivated by you. How do you come by that positivity?
It's a choice every day. Every day it's a choice.
Welcome into our Hear Me, See Me podcast. Hear Me, See Me is a special mental health awareness project of WIBW TV here in Topeka, Kansas. As we kick off May's Mental Health Awareness Month, we are blessed to be joined today by a member of the family that really revolutionized psychiatry and psychological care and how we have come to understand mental health in this country. Dr. Walt Menninger, thank you so much for being here.
You overestimate what we did, but thank you.
We're in November, which is a month that we dedicate to veterans, and mental health is a huge issue for our veterans and first responders. So who better to bring in for a conversation today than Eric Kirsch. He is the current undersheriff in Wabaunsee County, Kansas, soon to be sheriff there because he is unopposed or was unopposed in the November election, and so he will be promoted come January. And also a military background.
Yes, ma'am.
So what was your military service? Let's start with the first part of your story.
I attended the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina on a scholarship, and I commissioned in the Marine Corps in 2004. I was a counterintelligence officer. I did 2 deployments to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan. And I was assigned to NCIS for the last 4 years of my military career.
Hi everyone, it's Melissa Bruner in the WIBW Digital News Center. I just wanted to take a few moments here from the Digital News Center before our next on-air update in about 10 minutes to go through some of what we are seeing, some of the trends in our election results tonight. So the first thing, let's compare. You've been watching national coverage from Local News Live when it comes to the presidential race, and I want to show you what has happened with Kansas. So here's how we are looking right now nationally in the race for the White House. You can see former President Donald Trump currently leading in the Electoral College votes, Kamala Harris with 99 Electoral College votes. Take a look at Kansas right in the middle of the country, and we've been watching throughout the evening this coloration of the Kansas map change, and I'm going to show you why this trend is. So I walked out earlier tonight when the advanced ballots had come in, those initial ballots, and we actually were shaded light blue, leaning Harris. A few minutes ago, we had gone to white as a toss-up. Now you can see we are leaning Donald
Donald Trump. And as we take a closer look at the numbers, here's why. What we saw happen was some of the larger, more populous urban areas in the state reported those numbers early. Those are shaded in the blue. Those are the counties that were having more votes for Kamala Harris. We're going Harris's way. Western Kansas, where things are more spread out. It takes a bit more time for some of those results and so some of those precincts to report. You can see that those numbers are now starting to come in and fill in. That is where Donald Trump has been very strong, and the Republican votes have been very strong in Kansas. We have seen this in congressional races and all those trends throughout the years. Now Donald Trump has pulled ahead in Kansas with more than 50% of the vote to Kamala Harris's 48.2%. Again, we're still not even quite halfway there in getting all of the votes in, but look at the area that's left, the Republican stronghold where Donald Trump has been strongest in Western Kansas. So we may see that margin grow. In the last two presidential elections, Donald Trump has carried the state with 56% of the vote and 57% of the vote. And so that is a trend we're starting to see as the night goes on and those numbers come in, reporting and going that way. So how is it looking for some of the other races we've been monitoring this evening? Well, we have seen Tracy Mann, incumbent Republican in the big 1st Congressional District, with a comfortable lead over Paul Buskirk, his Democratic challenger. Again, only about halfway there, not even halfway there in counting the votes. District 2, this is an open seat. The incumbent, Jake LaTurner, opted not to seek re-election. Nancy Boyda held this seat. She beat 5-term incumbent Republican Jim Ryan back in the 2006 election. But she only held the seat for 1 term before another Republican, Lynn Jenkins, took it back. Derek Schmidt, Republican, a lot of name recognition. He was the Attorney General for Kansas for 12 years. Earlier in the evening, again, those populous areas where Nancy Boyda was very strong, she was holding the lead. Now, as we've seen more of those votes come in from some of the more rural areas of the district, we are seeing Derek Schmidt starting to pull ahead in this race. Shawnee County Commission will touch on real quick. Incumbent Kevin Cook is starting to build a lead over Republican challenger Henry McClure. Aaron Mays easily there in his ride-in. Let's check in on Jeff West. No votes from Jefferson County yet. But now I want to go back down through some of these legislative races, because here again is where we are seeing the trends of what is happening. Are we seeing the control of the legislature, basically, is what's been happening. Republicans have held a supermajority. Democrats were hoping to pick up some seats and flip some. This is a race largely in the Jefferson County area. Ron Ellis, a long-term incumbent Republican there. Mary Williams is the Democratic challenger. Only a few votes are in here, but in the early going, we were seeing Ron Ellis trail. We're starting to see, as more votes get reported, this one's only at 15% of the vote in. We are starting to see Ron Ellis build up some vote totals. So I've been watching that one tonight, waiting for more votes to come in, because again, Ron Ellis was trailing early. Looking through some of these districts in the Kansas House that are encompassing Shawnee County, Kyle McNorton, an incumbent Republican, he'd been appointed to that seat. He is seeking a full term and is holding a lead over Democrat Jessica Porter. We had gotten an update on Shawnee County votes here within about the past half hour, so we're starting to see some larger totals come in these. Morgan Steele and Linda Morse in House District 51. Let me check here what the situation was in House District 51. This is where incumbent Republican Kenny Titus had decided to run for a Senate seat. So we'll check how he's doing there. But here's the question. Would this remain a Republican-held seat or flip to Democrat? Right now, the Republican Megan Steele holding the lead in that District 52. Incumbent Republican Jesse Bourgeon with a lead. So Kirk Haskins, incumbent Democrat, holding the lead. So this seat is looking to hold over Republican former city councilman for Topeka, Jeff Cohen. 54, incumbent Republican Ken Corbett keeping the lead in House District 55. More than half of the votes in. Incumbent Democrat Tobias Schlingensiepen is holding the lead. Virgil Weigel, Penny Cluse. Now this one's a little bit interesting because Virgil Weigel, the incumbent Democrat, 75% of the vote in. He has 54% to 45% for Penny Cluse. So it looks like he will keep that seat. Penny Cluse, though, is the wife of incumbent state senator Rick Cluse, and he is in a Senate race. So this was a husband and wife campaigning side by side together. Let's get down to those Senate races, shall we? So this is Rick Cluse in District 3. What we are watching here is where we're talking about, can Republicans pick up seats? Can Democrats pick up seats? So Rick Cluse was an incumbent actually in Senate District 19. There was redistricting that happened. You know, they do that every 10 years. This is the first time the Senate seats are up for re-election. Since then, his address got moved to a different district. So he's in District 3, where incumbent Democrat Tom Holland decided not to seek re-election. So this is a seat up for grabs. Rick Cluse is the Republican currently leading the Democrat, Dina Sattler. So you think Democrats are actually going to lose a seat, perhaps, if this margin holds. But look what's happening in Rick Cluse's former district, Senate District 19. It is the Democratic challenger in there, Patrick Schmidt, who the Associated Press has declared the winner. So if Rick Cluse holds in District 3, Patrick Schmidt holds in District 19, it's actually a wash. Those two seats cancel each other out, and we have the same margin. So that's just one of the storylines that we are watching as we take a look at who will be controlling the legislature. Will it be an even split between Republicans and Democrats? Will there be a supermajority for the Republicans? Something we're going to keep watching all night long. And as we've been watching more results come in, let me flip back over real quickly and get another look at how these votes are going in the Congressional District 2 seat. Again, as this has started to show a little bit of a sway now toward Derek Schmidt, as some of the more rural areas in the district where the Republican candidates have traditionally been very strong, as we've seen these paths that have been happening in District 2. Derek Schmidt pulling out a lead now over Nancy Boyda. We are live in Independence, Kansas, where the Derek Schmidt campaign is watching, in Baldwin City, where Nancy Boyda is. You've heard from both of them on the air, so we will hear from them again when we have our late local news update for you. We are just a couple minutes away now from checking in the studio. Our Michaela Kelly has been keeping up with some of the legislative candidates. I believe she is going to be catching up with Patrick Schmidt, again declared the winner in State Senate District 19, and you'll be hearing from him in just a few minutes. If you keep it right here on WIBW.com as well as on air, we have an update coming from the studio as well, and we will be returning you to CBS News national coverage of the presidential race in just a few minutes.
Yes, last time this happened, it was a one-score game. Osage City was able to win it because of explosive plays. It was close all the way through, and then Osage City just managed to run away with it at the end with an explosive play. So St. Mary's is looking out for that this time, because this is a fight to keep your season alive, as we know.
And Osage City hoping to stay undefeated.
Yes, and if they win tonight, they would go 10-0 for the first time in school history.
That's pretty cool.
We'll start by talking about the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
So that last, as we were talking about, that last game that they played each other was 24-16 to Osage City at home. St. Mary's had a very good game in round one, beating Central Heights 49-0. And the Bears have played and won 3 straight road games. It's pretty solid, outscoring opponents 95-9. And Katie, I know we had the KPZ pregame, and they've been without Brady Hurla for a couple weeks now.
Yes, they lost him back in the Council Grove game, went down with an injury, and has been out since. So Coach Marple told me, it can be scary for a lot of teams when they lose their starting senior quarterback late in the season or even just coming into the playoffs. But they had a few weeks to adjust without him, and junior Lane Smith has stepped up very nicely, and they've been on a bit of a hot streak ever since, so clearly something's been working out. He said Brady Hurla has also done a really great job in kind of taking on an assistant coach role, so it's always cool when seniors in high school have that maturity to be able to do that and learn like that. But they're playing their best football right now. They get a big confidence boost winning 49-0 last week, shutout fashion. They weren't even sure if they would make the playoffs. When it came down to the final week of the regular season, just based on the new rules about making the playoffs and the smaller classifications. They needed a few things to happen. Some people lost, some people won, helping them get in. And clearly it was well-deserved because they've been playing well so far. And they played really well on the road. They have a better record on the road than they do at home this year, which might be in their benefit tonight because they will be at Osage City.
Yeah, which is crazy because there are some teams that, for some reason, perform better on the road than they do at home.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
And their only road loss was in overtime.
Yeah, against Riley County. So I don't know. I wish I knew that answer of why some teams play better on the road than they do at home. I don't know. Maybe it's just obviously matchup purposes, but
Coach Marple did tell me he feels like his guys have gotten in a really good rhythm when it comes to the game day, when it comes to going on the road, because most of the teams they've been playing throughout the year have been all the same distance away from St. Mary's. So, they just have a really good routine down of when they're going to do stuff, when they're going to hit the buses, what they're going to do on the buses, keeping themselves busy and focused. So maybe it's just practice makes perfect.
Well, you know what? And also it helps if you do make that state championship. That's also, I would say it's a road environment, but it's a neutral site environment, which you're not playing in your home turf.
Yes.
So that also can help,
And
obviously.
2A this year is in...
I think it's in Hutch, I believe. I
Yes,
think. Don't
think
quote
so.
me. I know they had some changes
so.
too there. So, no, this should be a fun matchup. St. Mary's at 6-3 on the year. Hopefully going to make it to sectionals for them. But obviously they have a pretty big beast in Osage City, who's 9-0 right now.
Their second undefeated regular season in school history. The last one came in like the 1970s or something, just according to Coach Gantenbein. That's what he told me earlier this week. But they also never had a team that's made it 10-0 on the season. Their best record of all time is 9-0. So if they were to win tonight, it would be a historic win for them.
That's pretty cool. And yeah, and I remember watching this game. We had a live stream up in our newsroom of this game on the TV, and it was 70-0, I think, or 70-6 at halftime. And obviously they win 76-6. But in home games this year, Osage City is awfully good, scoring 265 points and only allowing 67. So, and if this says it here in this season, they've averaged about 44 points a game and only allowed 13. So.
Yeah. Kason Parsons definitely leads that offense, and he's great. The rest of the offense is full of seniors who have been starting for multiple years, so they know what it takes to win in the postseason, and they definitely don't want their seasons to end because it's their last one.
No, and it's great because this 2A bracket
Loaded.
is loaded.
It's been loaded for several years now, especially with teams like Nemaha Central going back-to-back and all that. So
Silver Lake and now Rossville was in 2A, another 1A, but Osage City. St. Mary's now in 2A. Sabetha's still in 2A. A lot of great teams in 2A. So this bracket is fun. It obviously has great teams in it, and this should be a very fun matchup in Osage City, where Michaela Kelly will be live for us at 6 and 10 o'clock. So be prepared for her post-game and pre-game coverage of this big fun. Maybe she'll have that towel again if Osage City wins. If you remember that, if she had her little win towel or whatever they had, I
guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see if Osage City wins.
Unless it gets drenched, who knows?
Yeah, that too. That too.
Well, we got a lot more games on the docket for this week. This is in particular an exciting one. Council Grove and Silver Lake, 13 and 5 seed.
Yes, this one I'll be at, so say hello to me if you are at good old Silver Lake. They beat us another matchup from earlier in the regular season. Silver Lake won this one 29-12. Silver Lake, they pretty much dominated Galena. I was at that game, and they were up 21-0 when I got there, and obviously the result of there, it shows you 61-0.
As we typically see in week one of the playoffs.
Yeah, normally, yes. And Silver Lake's two losses against Nemaha Central and Osage City have a combined record of 17-1. So we were just talking about how good this 2A bracket is, and that explains it there. And